Hey, Miss Martinez here, and I'm going to show you how to draw a large size grid. Now, we can use a T-square. That's a way that we could do that's pretty fast, but I would warn you that if you're going to use the T-square, you want to make sure that you don't rush it, because a lot of times if people try to hurry it too quickly, that's where they end up making mistakes. Whether you're going to use the T-square or a regular ruler, it starts the same. So you're going to take your ruler, starting at the sort of lower portion of your paper. You're going to line up the beginning of your ruler. Now, you can see there's no zero here, right? So I want to make sure I've got right at the edge, that's my zero. I'm going to make a grid that's 3-inch square. So I'm going to count off every 3 inches, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to make a mark right by the 3-inch mark. And then I'm going to continue, right? So 3 plus 3 is 6. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. That brings me to 6. I'm going to mark off my next mark. 1, 2, 3 is 9. Right, so I'm doing 3-inch intervals. That's what I'm marking off. I'm not marking off every single inch in between. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. 15 plus 3 is 18. 15 plus 3 is 18. So got a little bit extra, that's fine. We're not going to worry about it. Now, this is the point where if I wanted to go really fast, I could just employ my T-square to make that go fast. I'm going to show you how to do that. But if I'm going to do just a ruler, maybe you don't have a T-square, so you want to do with just a ruler, I would slide my ruler up towards the top section of the paper, and then I do the same thing that I did here on the bottom, lining up and marking off 3-inch intervals, and then I could connect those straight down. And we're gonna do that so you can see how that's done, and then I'm gonna actually connect them with the T-square so you can see how that's done. I've got my starting at the beginning. This is crucial, right? You got to make sure this is lined up. If you are not paying attention and you start away from here, your points are going to be all messed up. So this is crucial that you take the time, make sure it's aligned, make sure you're holding your ruler in place, and then pay attention to your measurement. So we got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Okay? So if I've lined everything up and measured correctly, all my dots are in line with each other. And then it's about taking my time to make sure that I've lined it up. A little trick I like to use is to put the pencil on one of the dots and bump up the ruler right up against it. And then I put the pencil on the other dot and bump the ruler up. And then I go back to the first dot and I make sure that it's in the right position still, right? Carpenters, right, who have to do a lot of measurement, and then they'll like cut wood or metal or whatever they're using to build, they have a saying that says, measure twice, cut once. And that's because when you're cutting wood, you can't take that cut back, right? So they always take their time to do the measurement, make sure that it's absolutely correct before they actually do it. That's a good habit to have. And you can see my points are lined up, so I have a nice straight line. Now if you have a T-square, you'd only have to measure one row here, because what you could do is use this top part of your T-square, bump it up against the edge of your paper, and you can see that as I line it up with my dots, it automatically is in line with the straight dot. Now, The way that this can go wrong is if, again, you don't pay attention to what you're doing. If you don't actually make sure that the top, the cross T is bumped up completely against the edge of your paper, you get this, and then your alignment's going to be off. That's one of the most common things. Or it's not bumped up and it's partly over, you know, the edge of the paper. Again, that's going to throw it off. But if you do pay attention to what you're doing and not rush through things, a T-square can save you a little bit of time in terms of getting your stuff aligned. All right, so I'm just gonna get through these. Remember, make sure it's flush. That means that it's bumped up evenly against there. No gaps. Get to the edge. Gets a little trickier at the edge, right? Because you don't have so much paper to bump it up against on this side. And look, I'm like, why is that not lined up? Well, there you go. That's why you gotta pay attention. It's kind of lined up there. Another thing you want to make sure that you don't do, because one end of your T-square is a little elevated, you don't want to be angling your pencil so that it goes underneath, because that's going to throw your measurement off as well. Make sure that you keep your pencil as perpendicular to the paper as possible, straight up and down. That's going to help you get a truer line. Okay, so I've got this row. Now we need to orient our paper in the other direction, and we have to make our lines going this way. Again, 3-inch intervals, right? So I'm going to start with my first edge. Take my ruler. Okay, take my ruler. Make sure I bump it right up there and mark off my 3-inch intervals. And I'm going to show you how to do that with my T-square. Again, bump up, make sure that your edge is flush. That means it's right up against there. And once I'm sure it's in place, I'm going to hold it down steady. And now I can also mark off every 3 inches. Not every single T-square has a ruler on it. This one happens to. Okay, and then I have a few little left over there, right? So this was my leftover from the other side, and this is going to be my leftover row from that side. That's fine. I'm going to actually use my ruler to do this direction because my ruler is longer. See, and then with my ruler I can get more. But let's say you have short rulers, right? So this is something I see challenging for students. So let's see what we can do here, right? I have a regular 12-inch ruler and my paper is 18 inches, right? So I'm gonna run out of space halfway down there. What can I do? Well, first I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line up my ruler. So here, this one has a 0. I'm going to make sure my 0 is right at the edge. I'm going to mark off every 3 inches. So this is important. Make sure we keep our measurement accurate. And then the first thing I want to do is I want to connect the first section here. So I'm going to go my first set of 3-inch intervals. 3-inch intervals in this direction. Okay, but now I still have to connect it down here. Okay, so a couple things I can do. I can slide my ruler down, right? I can use this bit of line right here to align the straight edge. And I can just, and again, this is, pay attention to what you're doing. but then you can just continue that straight line. That's going to give you the accurate measurement. That's one thing you can do. Okay, another thing you can do is you can also do another set of 3-inch measurements. So we'll do those down over here. So here's another set, 3-inch, 6 inches, right? And I can just connect from the middle point there. That's going to also give me a nice clean box there. And you could do that, right? Or let's say at a very short ruler, what you can also do, you can do opposite extensions, right? And this is not something I recommend, but you know, if circumstances are such that you have no other choice, then you might want to do this, right? So I have this ruler, and let's say I only have this triangle, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my ruler over here on the line that I drew. And then I'm going to line up the edge of my other straight edge, right, on the opposite side. So we've got this overlapping part here, right? Again, make sure it's flush. This should not be tilted. It has to be absolutely up against this line here. Okay. And then I can continue my line as well. So those are 3 different ways that you can make a compensation for having a short ruler. But ideally, you want to have a nice long ruler that'll take you down through the entire length of what you want to draw. Okay, and here we have it. Here's my excess, and here are 3-inch squares, all right angles. It's all ready, so I can start to do my scale up method.